my approach is just pushing it down people's throats. Like I would literally be pouring the beverage down people's throats.
You're an MBA agent, you're an actor, you're a model. Currently, for the audience, this guy's got over 3 million followers on Instagram. You've got a proven track record when it comes down to campaigns, and you were a shareholder of a very popular sports drink, Body Armor, right, which got bought out by Coca-Cola for $5.6 billion. All right, welcome back to the Better Human podcast. Today we got Blaise Ffrench. What's going on, my man?
Greg, what's up, my guy? Excited to be here, man. Heard a lot about you. I can't wait to chop it up with you, man.
Yeah, we're going to get into it, man. We're going to pick your brain. We're going to talk about what it takes to be super successful when it comes down to branding and marketing and building companies and selling companies and entrepreneurship. So I couldn't think of a better person to do this with. You are literally a jack of all trades. And I don't know if you've actually heard that whole saying, right? It's not just a jack of all trades is a master of none. Yeah. That's not where it ends. It actually continues to say, but being a master of one is not as good as being a jack of all trades, something along those lines. Just for the audience, let me read your bio here. You're an MBA agent, you're an actor, you're a model, definitely an influencer. I think this is what a lot of people try to do on social. Marketing manager for Body Armor sports drink, which you then sold, right? Which we'll talk a little bit. But you got your starts in Queens, New York, as a basketball player before transitioning to the offside of the sport and getting your MBA. Currently, for the audience, this guy's got over 3 million followers on Instagram, right? You've got a proven track record when it comes down to campaigns with brands such as Milk Bar, Lightboxer, Target, Banana Republic, which I used to very much shop at. Stands True Religion. I haven't seen True Religion in a long time. Cross, Jump Rope. And Fashion Over Men. And you were a shareholder of a very popular sports drink, Body Armor, right, which got bought out by Coca-Cola for $5.6 billion. That is correct, audience. $5.6 billion. Man, that is just an accomplishment in itself. So here's what I want to do. I want to know, how do I build a company and sell it for over $5 billion, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some of that. But man, I'm excited to get into this stuff. Yeah. So let me ask you, man, how did this all begin for you? I mean, you know, you're in your MBA, you're playing pro sports, you know, you get into the other side of it. Sort of, what was that transition like, and sort of how did that all begin?
Yeah, so it started in Queens, man. You know, growing up in Queens, New York, we have a saying, you know, Queens get the money, and there's a lot of notable people from Queens, from Run DMC, LL Cool J. You know, 50 Cent, the Nicki Minaj's, the Irv Gotti's, Donald Trump, the Wolf of Wall Street. So Queens has a pedigree of, you know, breeding successful people. Right. And that standard was set. So I always had that bar to look up to. And when I went to high school, Holy Cross High School, I got a chance to meet a guy by the name of Mike Rapoli, who's now my Italian uncle. He co-founded Vitamin Water. And he sold that company to Coca-Cola for $2 billion, I want to say at the time, two point something. And I thought it was very interesting. And I kind of just, you know, studied under him. And, you know, when I was getting out of college, you know, he was starting another sports drink company called Body Armor. And so I got, you know, into that path. And you know, we ended up selling the company for $5 billion, but I learned a ton of different things. And, you know, I have an uncle named Irv Gotti who's in the music industry, and he's in the movie industry. So I learned, you know, the entertainment world and hanging around him. I'm just like a sponge, you know, I'm just soaking up, you know, all the knowledge from anyone I can. Honestly. Yeah.
That's amazing. What do you think it's about Queens? I mean, what's so special about Queens? This like breeding of these like high performing artists and athletes and entertainers. Like, is it something? It's water? Is it the environment? Is it like
it's an affluent
out the next person?
Yep, it's an affluent area. It's like it's kind of the suburbs of the city. So you know, a lot of like middle class families come from Queens. So it while it is poverty stricken, there are, you know, more you know, middle class families there. So more opportunities, and, you know, education is super important. Like my mom was like big on education. She used to like be beating me and yelling at me if I don't bring home A's.
Mhm.
So, I learned the importance of knowledge and, just being a better human, so to speak,
Oh, yeah. What I was also listening as you were sharing your story, you were talking about some of the relationships, and there's that wonderful saying, which is your network is your net worth,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And in a lot of cases, people don't take advantage is the wrong word, but people don't rise up to the opportunity.
Yeah.
And you have these great mentors and these great relationships in your life, and what it sounds like is that you really sort of, showed up with your 50%. I'm a big believer in the 50-50, right? Like I'll do my 50, you do your 50, together we got 100. But you get a lot of people out there that sort of, won't action things. So, you know, for the audience, I mean, for people that are sort of trying to make it out there in quotations, right?
Yeah.
What are some fundamental lessons that you've sort of learned along your journey that we might want to share and is important for us to think about?
Yeah. I feel like I've mastered the barter system. That was kind of like those step one for me where like, before money or currency, we would exchange resources and things. And I've really learned how to barter really well. So I would, while I may be in abundance of this and you have that, I've learned to exchange it and bring value to people. So I would definitely say, because everyone has resources and things that they bring to the table. So just finding somebody who doesn't have what you have and working that and just building those great relationships. Like I get hit up from the most random people with opportunities. It's so strange. Everyone's asking me like, how do you get your deals and your agents and stuff? While I do have really good agents, just the most random people. Like I could meet somebody on the street and just give them something like a drink or something I have, and I,
Mhm.
get their social, and then down the line they hit me up like, hey, I have a cousin, or I just met this guy who works for Saks, and they would like to like. Just I'm a big believer in that, like connecting and networking and just always bartering what you have, whether it's time, energy, compliments. Yeah, especially growing up in New York, everyone's kind of mad and mean. So I took the approach of just being nice to people because you don't see that a lot. So I stand out and different because everyone's always cursing each other out. So I went with the approach of just being nice and complimenting everyone.
Yeah. So that whole saying "nice guys finish last" is actually bullshit, right? It's actually the opposite, right? Nice guys,
Yes.
like it's really important to I love what you said, which is the whole barter thing, right? Which is it's the oldest form of exchange and business. And I tuned into when you said like I would barter like either compliments or just trying to help or giving advice or doing an introduction, paying it forward, right? Operating in this selfless exercise instead of a selfish exercise.
Yeah.
Would you agree that that's kind of what sets the foundation for success, which is your willingness to give and extend yourself?
For sure, for sure. I definitely think, and even just listening to somebody, some people just need an ear and just want to vent to you and getting that off. But that definitely is the foundation for me. And networking, talking to people, treating the janitor the same way I treat the CEO. That's always kind of been my mindset. And yeah, I hang my hat on that. And then as you grow, you know you you start to barter different things and start it turns into investing your time and your blood and your sweat into things. So when I worked with Body Armor, um I was out there every day. I was promoting every day and handing out bottles and just on the front line, just
Mhm.
doing what I can because I really believed in the leadership and I believed in the product. So, when I believe in the leadership and we have a great product, I could run through a wall for people because I'm pushing something that I love. So, um, Yeah, that definitely, there's definitely steps to it, and it starts to get crazy as it, goes up. But yeah, that's the foundation for me for sure.
So let's talk about leadership. What do you think leaders need to? And this is my business, it's my world, right? I'm in it all day teaching leaders, right, and managers, and I often remind people leadership is like a parental role, right? You've got sort of this oversight and this responsibility to look after the health and the well-being of your, in quotations, children or team members. What do you think leaders need to sort of operate with today in order to create that kind of buy-in and that kind of that loyalty to the organization or to you?
For me, I like fearless leadership. I like just coming up in New York, it's like dangerous in New York, you could be here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. So I like that fearless leader. I grew up watching the mob movies and the, Italian mafia and how they ran things. And it's like, you know, it's either you do this or you're dead,
Mm.
So I really like that kind of approach. And like I grew up around like good gangsters, right? Like where, they were taking care of their family. Like that's what like a gangster is to me, someone who like takes care of their family, takes care of the community, and it's just a fearless leader, and it's like well respected. Like, Mike Rapoli is a badass gangster, man. He like, and it's a different way. He's not out there, selling drugs or killing people. He's like, pushing a better for you sports drink, and just like changing the world in such a good way. But you dare not cross him, and you dare like, and he's going against Gatorade. Like we're going against Gatorade, who's been around for 50 years, and we're not standing down. So that's like exciting to me, and that kind of gets me up in the morning every day to kind of, go out there and just run through those walls.
Cool. So what's it like competing with the Gatorade today? I mean, is there like, nasty tactics that they're using against you guys? Like, is it
I
David
mean,
versus Goliath kind of
you
story?
got to be insane to go against Gatorade. There's no one is successful. No one goes against Gatorade and makes it out. I think the rate was like it's almost like going against the Feds. The Feds have like a 99% conviction rate, and Gatorade almost had the same kind of rate.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was
If you think about
interesting.
sports, it's like Gatorade is like a staple or an icon within
Sure,
sports, regardless, right? I mean, you think about
sure,
the Gatorade being dumped over the coach at the end of the game when they win,
yeah,
right? Like they don't say,
yeah,
"Oh, we're pouring water." It's like, hey, they get dumped with Gatorade.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we identified, flaws in Gatorade's brand. Just like Gatorade has been around for going on 60 years now. And like, my grandfather used to drink Gatorade. And we came up with the slogan like, if why would I be drinking the same thing my grandfather is drinking? Right? That can't be healthy and that can't be good.
Right.
So there was just time for that change. And yeah, like they never changed their formula. They had like red dye, blue dye, yellow in there, and just like where the world's going, health conscious consumers. It was just time for a change, and it was, while it was tough, we definitely identified those flaws in their formula, and they were reluctant to pivot and change it, because then they would be admitting to fault that they've
Mhm.
been giving out crap these last 60 years. So we kind of put them in a nice pigeonhole, and having Kobe Bryant and James Harden and Mike Trout along board, doesn't hurt at all either. So
Right.
we had a really good team. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I recently heard this that in America specifically, 50% of adults are either pre-diabetic or have diabetes.
Mm,
And it's to that point of like, we've been consuming drinks and food that, you've never really questioned why is it red? Why is it blue? Where do these things come from and stuff? And, I have a few clients that are in the food industry, like food science companies, right? Where they are the ones that like create these concoctions and stuff. So you're in a new company now, right? Tell us about the drink company now. There it is. What is it? Oh, I
Once
love it,
upon a
man.
coconut.
I love the branding and the logo of that. Cool.
Yeah. So this is liquid gold right here. So Body Armor had coconut water, and this is coconut water. So staying with that coconut water theme. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I've never really liked coconut water like that. Maybe fresh coconut from, like, I'm Jamaican. So when I go to the Caribbean, and I know you've been in Costa Rica, and you say, your coconuts are amazing. So when it's like that, yes. When it's bottled up, when like Zico and these other brands, I never really enjoyed it. But this coconut water is amazing. So this is the chocolate coconut water, which sounds crazy to me. Chocolate and coconut water doesn't sound, ethical. However, the taste is amazing. The blend is just spectacular. And the leadership, there's the founder, John Chirando, is an amazing guy. He's from Queens as well, Italian guy. So I'm sticking with those themes. I stick with those themes, those gangsters, those better human gangsters, I want to call them, who are looking to change the world. And he's a great guy who does a lot of philanthropy and gives back. And no nonsense guy though, and is really focused about kind of changing the narrative, and just innovating and disrupting this, coconut water category. So I'm super excited about this journey. This is like my first week. So yeah, so hopefully, 5 or 10 years down the line, we could do this again, and hopefully we've sold for 10 billion this time. So I'm excited about this journey, man.
So selling to Coca-Cola, I mean, that's the ultimate sort of thing in business, right? A lot of people say, and I cross this conversation a lot with CEOs. They're like, what's the point of being in business? To build a company to then sell.
Yeah.
Cool. So you sell this company off to Coca-Cola. Are you ever worried about the integrity of the product then being changed or disrupted once we've, in quotation, sold out, not in a negative way, but sold out to the big conglomerate?
Yeah, so there's no secret that, like, when big companies buy companies, that the brand kind of diminishes a little bit just because it's in such a big system. Um,
But they own everything. Like when you look at a lot of drinks on the shelf, like if you actually go and see which company owns them, Coca-Cola.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, but I'm a person that wants to take care of everyone. So, like, I always have these questions, and I'm also a professor at my college, St. Peter's University, and I teach marketing classes. And we speak about the integrity of brands. So when brands are small, you're able to, the quality is very high, right? And because only a certain amount of people are being access to it. But I'm a believer in, so say in McDonald's, while the quality is not good,
Mhm.
they're able to feed so many families, right? There's so many families who can't afford that high end food, and that these organic foods. So I'm for the masses. I'm for everyone being able to participate. And while Coca-Cola makes that possible, they have a wide range. They're able to get to places that we're not able to get to. So I'm for it, man. And even though the quality is not the best, but at least everyone gets a chance to try it, and and hydrate.
But some of the products are good quality, right? Some of them are healthy, right? So
Yeah, they do a good job. They do a good job as best as they can. You know what I mean? It's they're huge, coming in like every country. Imagine kind of running that, and the quality control, and there's so many moving parts. So and I didn't realize that until, like, I went behind a cooler. Like before I got into the beverage industry, I just thought like the drinks would just appear in the cooler and people would just pick them out. And one day I went behind the cooler and I seen people coming in and seeing them choose what they want to go for and, packing out the coolers and stuff like that. So there's so many like pieces to the puzzle that people aren't aware of.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk about branding. I mean, this is your expertise, right? And every entrepreneur, I think, suffers or is challenged with marketing and branding,
Yeah.
right? As entrepreneurs, we're great hustlers and we're really intense and committed and passionate, but you can't be amazing at all things. And I know for me, the exercise of marketing and branding is not a struggle, but it's an effort for me. It doesn't come so naturally. So if I'm building a company today and you want to give me the 101s, like here's your best practices, man. Here's what you got to think about when it comes down to branding and marketing. Here's what you got to think about when it comes down to entrepreneurship. What are some of those basics or some of those sort of fundamental things that you would advise me on?
I would say, logo is super important. Messaging is super important. So you want to kind of convey who you are to people. And, that's something, and you got to know who your consumer is. So, finding out who you're speaking to can determine what you're saying to them. Right. So at Body Armor, we thought that the kids were our consumers, which they are, but they're not the purchaser. Like they're not the ones purchasing the product. So we had to tailor our messaging to moms who are the gatekeepers, who are the ones purchasing and buying. So, finding out who your consumer is, your logo, messaging, and then there's just a relentless pumping things down someone's throat. So like it takes about 7 or 8 times for people to see something and to be aware of it, that brand awareness. So, and I think it probably is even more now how quick, the attention spans of, consumers are today. So, my approach is just pushing it down people's throats. Like I would literally be pouring the beverage down people's throats. Just because,
There's shot.
yeah,
Coconut water, it's not tequila.
yeah. Just because like consumers are, they're weird and they're, like a thing I used to do. I used to do demos, right? I used to give out samples, and I would be like, "Hey, do you want to try a healthy, better for you sports drink?" Every time it's no, I do not want to try. And then I realized you can't ask people anything. You have to tell them. So I would be like, try this better for you sports drink. And then they'd be like, okay, oh, this is amazing. It's good. So there's like little tricks and little things that you could say that like tweaks people, because you can't ask them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just pushing it down the consumer's throats is my approach.
It's very true what you just said. Like if you're asking, people have this option to say no. Early days in my business, we would run these ads, and the ads were like quite painful, right? Which were like, are you a loser, not getting, not moving forward in life? Call this number, right? And it was everything like scared of a presentation, like can't get a raise, like your
Yeah,
teenager, verbally abuses you, like, there were these painful messages, and people would call up. And one of our responsibilities as the salesperson on the phone was telling them that they had to come in, do a consult, meet us, talk about the different training, the program, and we would then recommend it for them. And as long as we followed that script, people booked in for the consult. The second you started to say things like, so what do you think about coming in for a consult? Or how do you feel about that? Or, what's your schedule like next week? They would be like, no, thank you very much, right? And there was
yeah,
this other thing, which is if you told them the price of the program, which back then was $2,000, they'd say, thank you very much, goodbye, right? So it became really the exercise of managing them into this consult. And it's true today, which is like you if you're too passive in the messaging,
yeah.
people are inundated with options and so much noise. So, that's where assertiveness kicks in. Brands and marketing, you need to be assertive. You need to be direct.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Very cool. What do you think about Prime? I'm sorry to bring it up, but like, I mean, what are your thoughts about Prime, their branding? And it's funny because recently my 7-year-old rolled up to me because I was flying back to Canada, and he's like, "Can you pick me up a Prime?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Where do you know about Prime from?" Right? YouTube, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But he was insistent on getting Prime, right?
Mm,
Never tasting it or whatnot. So I thought that was interesting, right? Which is obviously you market towards the kids, but what do you think about their branding and what they've done as an organization? And maybe the third question to that is their product healthy? Do you know anything about it?
yeah. I think it's crap. I
Mm,
think it tastes horrible.
mm,
Um, I don't think it's healthy, but I think they've done a freaking amazing job with marketing and branding. I think they've done, yeah, phenomenal job with it. And that's the power of marketing, the power of branding, where you could have a crappy product, but if your marketing and your branding is powerful, you could turn consumers, quickly.
mm,
But like to segue into like a good brand, Aloe is a company that I work with, that I love, and they have done an amazing job of marketing and branding, and they have a really good product, and they promote a good message about health and wellness, and so I really love Aloe, and I love the clothes, but I just love the messaging and the leadership. That team and what they're doing is amazing. So it's just fun to kind of, be a part of, that brand and that ride, and kind of see them grow into the next Nike and Adidas, I feel like.
Yeah, well, they took on Lululemon, right? I mean, for a long time.
Yeah.
Lululemon, like even it's become the way people describe things, right? Like,
Yep. Yep.
Lululemon, right? It's not even the brand sometimes, right? And they did great for women's fashion, right? Specifically at the office, right? So I like Aloe, and I was actually recently watching this guy. I forget his name, but he does he brings in all these different products, Aloe, Lululemon, like these different apparel companies, and sort of takes them apart and shows you the little things, right? Like how they're stitched and what quality of fabric it is, and the way they put it together. And he was like, "Look, Aloe, it's more expensive, but like." The quality of the material, the way it's put together, there was a bunch of criteria was really on point. In fact, actually, recently I was just cruising your Instagram and I saw your post about Aloe. I really like them. They're a great brand, right?
Great band.
You think
Great
that,
people.
yeah, you think they're going to take on? They are going to be the next Nike or Adidas, or yeah,
Yeah, I believe so, because they're started as yoga, and now just getting into sports. Like Jimmy Butler is one of the athletes at Aloe, and he's an amazing basketball player, and they're coming out with sneakers which are super comfortable and cool, and I just see that crossover and just getting into more sports, and yeah, I definitely think that they're going to be the next Nike, and Adidas. Lululemon's out, especially with their CEO said some crazy stuff the other day. I
I also recently learned this, which is why he named the company Lululemon. Right? Have you heard the story?
didn't hear it. No.
I got to Google it, but supposedly the reason he named it Lululemon is because he's a racist, and he
Uh,
was focusing the name where Asian culture wouldn't be able to pronounce it properly.
I did hear that. I did hear that.
Right?
Yep.
The other story I heard from him was like the reason he started the company was because he was doing a yoga class. He looked around, everyone's wearing pajamas, and he said, "No, it's got to be a better apparel to use." But no, yeah, he said some shit recently, which it's not good. And when you're at that level, man, you let you let that thought, or you start to let those lips start flapping, you're gonna find yourself in a major problem, right?
For sure. Somebody needs to pull the plug there ASAP and get him out of there.
Yeah, he's from a different generation though, right?
Yeah,
That being said, you gotta give it to him, right? Which is he did build a massive company and maybe paved the way or was one of the first for companies like Aloe and
for
and
sure.
sort of athletic apparel.
Definitely. Definitely.
Know who I like his branding, and I also like him is Mark Wahlberg, right? He's got his new brand coming out, or not coming out. It's come out, municipal. Um, and I've never actually touched it or felt it, but I've been following him, and I'm sort of watching what he's doing with the company and the brand, and he's good. The Wahlbergs are good, man. They've done well.
Man, I love Mark. Mark definitely is a good dude. He's a guy, he kind of does it all too. He's a jack of all trades. He's acting, started modeling Calvin Klein and tequila he's into. And Mark's good, man. He's definitely one of those ones, man, that I look at, and he's inspiring and motivating for sure. Definitely.
He is, and he's a hustler, man. He works hard, right? Marky Mark, remember that? All right. By the way, I'm pulling up the jack of all trades because I butchered it. Yeah. The full saying. Here we go. Ready? Here's the complete saying. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like that.
yeah, you should actually I'm thinking I should print this and put it up on my wall, right?
Yeah, jack of all trades is a master of none, but better than the master of one. Got it.
Oftentimes better than a master of one.
Oftentimes.
While many people associate the term jack of all trades with negativity, it's never meant to be negative. It's actually a compliment.
Yeah, definitely.
There's
I think,
another. Go on, jump in.
no, I was gonna say, I just think like in society, like, they try to put you in a box and they just want you to just do one thing, and it's just never been me. I have ADD in that aspect of I can't just do one thing, and like predictability. I don't like when I know what's going to happen. I enjoy the thrill of not knowing, and just that entrepreneurship is just so scary because you don't know what's going to happen. And while sometimes my anxiety is through the roof and I think I don't like it, I do enjoy it at the end of the day. And I love being nervous and scared. And I live for those, that adrenaline seeking, not knowing.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm very similar as well, and I do have ADD, and I think it's added to my success as an entrepreneur, right? I also have my hands in a lot of different things, and specifically with roles at in the business.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't do it any other way, right? Very cool, man. Very, very, very cool. There's another saying, by the way, which is called winging it. Have you ever heard the term winging it?
absolutely.
You want to know what the full saying is of that one?
What's that
Well,
one?
not the full saying, where it actually comes from. So the term winging it comes from the theater, right? And when there was an actor or an actress, there was always an understudy, right? Which is if anything happened to that actor or actress, right? They got too drunk, they didn't show up for the show, they got pissed off, they stormed off, right? They disappeared. The understudies, right, which would rehearse as much as the main actor or actress, which would prepare, which would practice, which would spend even more time practicing and rehearsing, where they would wait is they would wait in the wings of the theater. So the term
Oh,
winging it actually has more to do with being prepared and rehearsed than doing it spontaneously.
wow. You just put me on. That's that. I would have never known that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love the part about winging it, being more prepared,
Yeah.
right? Because when you think about winging it, that sound, we usually just think about it as just going for it, but being more prepared. Oh man, I love that.
So you actually, when you do have to spontaneously jump in or just sort of do it, you've got the foundation and the backing to be successful.
Love that.
And
I
filled with
love
all.
that.
And I'll send you an email with a bunch of them.
Yes, thank you.
I can't believe we're at the top of the hour already. Listen, I really appreciate our conversation, man.
Uh,
You're an easy cat to flow with.
definitely, man. I love this stuff. I love this. I learned some stuff. This is crazy.
There you
I
go.
love it.
And for the audience, I'm in Toronto now. You're coming up to Toronto this weekend. What are you doing in Toronto?
Toronto, I will be doing the NHL All-Star game. They have a celebrity hockey game I'll be playing in.
Oh, you're actually playing.
Yeah, I'm playing.
Wow.
I'll be winging
Basketball and hockey, winging it.
it.
Right? I didn't know you played hockey.
I do it all, man. I definitely do it all. The only thing I don't do is sell my soul, I say, but I'm down for it all, man. Boxing, skydiving, deep sea diving, like anything that makes me nervous, I run towards it. It's fun, you know?
And we got to get you down to Costa Rica, take you on some adventures there, right? I mean, it is an
Sure.
amazing, incredible place. If you haven't been, definitely we got to connect afterwards and get you down there.
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Listen, at the end of the episode, we come to the most important question, and really, your gems of knowledge today have been fantastic. Just really around branding and entrepreneurship, and one of the key things that I heard you talk about today is the importance of relationships and showing up and giving in those relationships. And even when you think you've got nothing, you've got something to barter. You got something to give. It could just be a smile. It could be a compliment. It could be just adding value. It could just be a support, which I think is a huge foundation for success. And I hope the audience really got that today, which is all of this stuff comes when we've got some of these foundations built in place.
Yes. Yes.
Um, what do you think? What do you think we could all do to be better humans as of tomorrow?
I think that we could be grateful and just have gratitude. Like, I feel like a lot of people look at what they don't have instead of looking more at what they do have. Like, I'm someone that could work off of nothing. Like, I could have nothing and make it something just because I have just that positive mindset, and I'm very positive, optimistic. My optimism is through the roof. It could be, the building could be on fire and I'll still have optimism. And I always brought that to these big powerful people, right? Like the CEOs and these billionaires, like they already deal with enough stress. So I try to not come with stress, and it's natural for people to come with like problems to them, because I think naturally we think that that's what they want to hear, of what they could be doing better, instead of coming to them with just positivity. And or if you're going to come with a problem, have a solution. So I just think just having that positive mindset more so we could have. And whether that's just could just be a smile, just a compliment, just bringing more positivity and optimism to the world. And because we have so much to be thankful for. Just waking up and just being here is enough. You know what I mean? So the world's yours.
Positivity is the answer to a lot of it. Optimism, right? Seeing the blue sky, right? Like
Yes.
the place is on fire. Okay, we get to build a bigger, better place, right? Or we get to roast marshmallows, right? Let's get the kids around here.
Exactly.
Floor's going. Let's get some marshmallows going, right? The fire keeps you warm, right? I talk
Ex-
a lot about this, which is fire. Fire just doesn't burn things down. Fire provides light. Fire can keep you
True.
warm. Fire can
Mm.
cook your food. Fire can create security, right? So a big lion's going
Mm.
to chase them away with
Yeah.
fire. So, we always
Yeah.
have to look at the upside of things, and it's really your mindset at the end of the day, which we have the most responsibility for. And when you talk about CEOs and billionaires being stressed, we talk a lot about this, which is stress is emotional cancer, right?
Mm.
And if you're not careful, man, that shit will eat you away.
Mm.
Right?
You're
Awesome.
right. Nah, I like
Hey,
that.
French, drop some of your links, my friend. How could people come and follow you and learn more about you? And if they want to build a
Yes.
billion-dollar company, and if they want to learn marketing, where do they go?
Yes, sir. Follow me on Instagram at blaisefrench.com. I mean, at Blaise French, Blaise, French with two F's, Ffrench. My website, blaisefrench.com. Shoot me a DM. I'm always checking my DMs. You see me in person, say what's up. I'm very personal, and, we'll have a conversation with you. So, yeah, and looking to grow my team. I want more people like me. So if you feel like there's some similarities, please hit me up. I'm always looking to grow. But yeah, man, Greg, man, it was a pleasure being on here. You're a great dude, and I learned some stuff. So I'm super excited about that and ready to apply that to my everyday, life. So thank you, my guy.
Amazing. Anyone ask you what the second F stands for?
Fucking French. Nah.
Hey, I was going to go something more positive, like fantastic, right?
Oh, fantastic French. Yeah. But the New Yorker in me, I had to.
Great. That's amazing. All right, for the audience, go and follow Blaise. He's super easy to find. As soon as you start typing his name on Insta and all the other social platforms, he's going to pop up. You got a wicked channel, man. You're really doing it and representing some of the products that you're also representing. To the audience, get behind them. Right, this new coconut water. What's it called again?
Once Upon a Coconut. That's it's the brand, and Aloe, that's the clothes. Saks is the department store. Manscaped. Who else are some of my really good partners that I love? Those kind of are the anchors. And I'm also teaching classes at St. Peter's University. I'm a professor there. It's teaching graduate classes. So if you guys ever want to kind of get a MBA, you could check me out over there. The Knicks, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. Yeah, you know where to find me.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, for the audience, if you like today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're checking this out on YouTube, definitely like, subscribe, and share. And if you're on some of the audio platforms like Apple or Spotify, go leave us a review, man. It really helps us continue putting on great shows and lets us know how we're doing. All right, till then, we will see you next time.